Imagine for a moment that everything you believe to be real, your job, your family, your dreams, even the identity you wear like a second skin, is nothing more than a grand illusion. A vast, intricate design crafted not to free you, but to bind you. What if the ancient Gnostics were right all along? What if hidden forces, the Archons, have been feeding off your life energy since the moment you took your first breath? What if death itself is not the escape you imagine, but merely another loop in an endless cycle of deception? Today, we will journey beyond the surface of known history and into the hidden teachings of the Gnostics, the mysticism of the Tibetan Bardo, the wisdom of the Hermetic texts, the ancient whispers of the Sumerians, and the timeless truths of the Bhagavad Gita. This is not just a story you will hear. It is a revelation you are meant to experience. This is your roadmap, your invitation to awaken. Long ago, before mainstream religions rose to dominate human consciousness, there were those who saw through the illusion. The Gnostics, ancient seekers of secret knowledge, warned that the world we see with our eyes is a counterfeit creation. It is not the true divine world, but a corrupted imitation, built by lower beings known as the Archons. These parasitic entities did not create life out of love, but out of hunger. Hunger for control, for power, for the energy of the soul itself. In distant Sumer, one of the world's first civilizations, similar stories were told of gods who engineered mankind, not for enlightenment, but for servitude. At the same time, across the vastness of the East, the mystics of the Himalayas mapped the soul's journey after death in the mysterious Bardo states, where illusions continue to trap consciousness in an endless wheel of reincarnation. Meanwhile, the Hermetic teachings of Egypt whispered of a hidden order behind appearances, a cosmic mirror where what is above reflects below. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna reveals to Arjuna that reality is not what it seems, that the soul is untouched by death, and yet it is entangled by desires and attachments that bind it back into illusion. Across the world, from different tongues and temples, a single truth echoed. You are living inside a carefully constructed dream. Most people never question it. From the moment they are born, they are programmed, taught to value material success, status, external validation. They wake up, go to school, find a career, start a family, grow old, and die, believing they have fulfilled their purpose. But the Gnostics and sages of old knew this was not living. It was sleepwalking. The Archons, these cosmic parasites, orchestrate the great illusion, feeding off human emotions, especially fear, anger, lust, and despair. The entire system, from institutions to entertainment, is designed to keep you reactive, distracted, and unaware of your true nature. Yet sometimes, cracks appear, an unexplainable dream, a profound sense of déjà vu, a sudden moment when time seems to freeze and you glimpse something greater. These are not random. They are the soul's memories trying to surface. They are the sacred tremors of awakening. Awakening begins when you realize that the cage was never locked. You were only convinced it was. The Gnostics called it gnosis, not knowledge taught by others, but a knowing that erupts from within. Hermes Trismegistus spoke of this inner fire, the flame that no deception can extinguish. It has been burning inside you all along. The Bhagavad Gita speaks directly to this inner awakening. Krishna tells Arjuna, "Weapons cannot cut it, fire cannot burn it, water cannot wet it, wind cannot dry it. The soul is eternal, immutable, and unbreakable. Your true self is beyond the reach of the Archons. It is beyond death and life. It is a spark of the infinite source itself. But to awaken, you must recognize that everything you have been taught about yourself, your name, your story, your fears, is part of the illusion. You are not the character in the dream. You are the dreamer. Awakening is not a single event, but a painful, beautiful, and sometimes terrifying process. Every ancient tradition agrees. The path to truth demands courage. It demands questioning the very fabric of your reality. It demands seeing not with your physical eyes, but with the eye of the soul. The Tibetan Book of the Dead describes the Bardo realms as full of dazzling lights and terrifying visions, all designed to trap the unawakened soul into rebirth. But if the soul recognizes them as illusions, it can pass beyond. Similarly, if you recognize the illusions of your waking life, the endless chase for validation, security, and distraction, you can begin to step outside the trap. This is the beginning of your journey. To awaken is to see clearly. To see clearly is to remember. And to remember is to return, not to the world of appearances, but to the boundless reality that no Archon, no fear, and no illusion can ever touch. The world around you, the flashing screens, the relentless news cycles, the ceaseless demands to be more, have more, achieve more, is not just a coincidence of modern life. It is the matrix, an invisible prison for the mind, meticulously designed to keep you asleep. The Gnostics described this reality as the domain of the demiurge, the false creator god, a being ignorant of the true source who fashioned a flawed, deceptive world. The Archons, his agents, enforce this reality, feeding on the energy of trapped souls. Every structure you see, political systems, education, religion, commerce, is part of the machine that keeps you focused outward, away from your own divine essence. The Sumerians spoke of the Anunnaki, the gods who fashioned humans as workers, slaves bound to earthly toil. Whether you call them Archons or Anunnaki, the message is the same. Humanity was hijacked. Your soul, a fragment of the infinite, was imprisoned within layers of programming designed to convince you that you are small, powerless, and dependent. The Matrix thrives on your belief that you are separate from others, from nature, from the divine. This illusion of separation is its greatest weapon. Think of how the Matrix manipulates your emotions. It sells you fear, fear of the future, fear of death, fear of being insignificant. It markets endless distractions, entertainment, conflict, mindless consumption, to keep you from looking within. And most sinister of all, it trains you to police yourself, to ridicule and attack anyone who dares question the illusion. If you have ever felt like a stranger in this world, like a misfit who sees through the hollow promises of society, know this: you are not broken. You are awake enough to recognize the chains. The Hermetic principle, as above, so below, as within, so without, reminds us that the external world is a reflection of the internal state. The Matrix exploits this law, planting seeds of fear and scarcity within your mind so that you unconsciously project a reality of limitation. But this also means that by transforming your inner world, you can begin to dissolve the Matrix's grip on your life. The Bhagavad Gita offers a profound strategy. Perform action without attachment to results. Live in the world, but do not let the world live in you. Krishna instructs Arjuna to act with complete presence, to fulfill his duty without falling into the web of desires and fears spun by Maya, the cosmic illusion. The Tibetan Bardo teachings mirror this wisdom. They speak of navigating terrifying visions after death, monstrous deities, blinding lights, all products of one's own mind. If you cling to fear, you are pulled back into the cycle of rebirth. But if you recognize the visions as projections, you pass beyond them. Likewise, in waking life, if you cling to the illusions of the matrix, your titles, your possessions, your identity, you remain trapped. But if you see them for what they are, transient, hollow, ultimately unreal, you begin to free yourself. Breaking free from the matrix is not about escaping to a remote monastery or renouncing all possessions. It is about piercing the illusion wherever you are. It is about living consciously, seeing the hidden patterns, and choosing to no longer feed the machine with your fear, your anger, or your blind obedience. It is about remembering that you are a sovereign being, a soul that chose to descend into this realm not to be enslaved, but to awaken. And through your awakening, to illuminate the path for others. Escaping the matrix is not simply about intellectual understanding. The Archons are ancient masters of deceit. They have seen countless souls awaken intellectually, only to be ensnared again emotionally and energetically. True liberation requires transformation at every level: mind, heart, body, and soul. You must awaken your inner knowing, reclaim your sovereign energy, and chart a conscious path beyond the illusions of both life and death. The Hermetic teachings offer a powerful key: the law of mentalism. All is mind, Hermes teaches. Reality itself is shaped by consciousness. To exit the trap, you must reclaim authorship over your own mind. No longer allow fear-based narratives to control your imagination. No longer allow media, politics, or false authorities to dictate your reality. Recognize that you are a creator, not a victim. The Gnostics spoke of the spark within, a divine fragment of the true source that can never be corrupted. Your task is to nurture this spark into a flame. Meditation, inner silence, contemplation of the eternal truths. These are the tools to strengthen the soul's signal and weaken the matrix's hold. Every time you choose love over fear, wisdom over ignorance, authenticity over conformity, you weaken the parasite's grip on your consciousness. The Tibetan Bardo guides offer critical instructions for the soul's passage after death. Upon encountering the dazzling lights and terrifying visions, the soul must remain calm, unattached, recognizing them as projections of the mind. This training does not begin at death. It begins now. Every emotional storm you face in life is a rehearsal for the Bardo. Can you remain centered in the face of chaos? Can you see beyond appearances and recognize the eternal self within? This is the real work of liberation. The Bhagavad Gita provides the ultimate warrior's path: to act with devotion and detachment. Krishna reminds Arjuna that the soul is neither born nor does it die. Therefore, Arjuna must rise beyond fear and fulfill his higher calling. Likewise, you are called not to flee the world, but to engage it fearlessly, as a liberated being, a light in the darkness. The exit plan is not a secret ritual, a hidden doorway, or a physical escape. It is a shift in consciousness. It is the recognition that you were never truly trapped. The Matrix, the Archons, the illusions of death and rebirth, they only have power because you believe in them. Withdraw your belief, reclaim your power, and you will walk free. not after death. Now, this is your path. This is your awakening. And this is only the beginning. Make no mistake, this is a battle, but not the kind you've been taught to fight. This war is not waged with swords or bullets. It is fought in the unseen realms of consciousness. Every moment you are alive, forces are vying for your attention, your energy, your belief. The Gnostics warned that the Archons seek to keep you entangled in lower vibrations, fear, anger, lust, greed, because these energies nourish them. They cannot create, they can only feed. You are the prize. Your consciousness, your infinite creative spark, is the very thing they crave to control. The Sumerian myths echo this same struggle. Humans created for servitude, yet carrying within them a divine seed capable of unimaginable freedom. The ancient seers understood. There is something precious inside you that even the gods fear. You have the capacity to transcend them, and that makes you dangerous. The battlefield is your mind. Every thought of doubt, every surge of self-hatred, every whisper that tells you, you are not enough. These are not random. They are tactical strikes against your awakening. The Hermeticists teach that the mind is the first plane of reality. Control the mind, and you control the world. Lose control of the mind, and you become a pawn on the chessboard of unseen forces. The Bhagavad Gita lays out the warrior's training. Krishna teaches that the soul must rise above pleasure and pain, success and failure, victory and defeat. The true warrior fights not for personal gain, but for the liberation of the soul. To fight this battle, you must master yourself. You must anchor into your eternal nature so deeply that the chaos of the world cannot shake you. The Tibetan teachings offer further warnings. In the Bardo state, the soul who clings to emotions, attachments, and illusions is hurled back into the wheel of rebirth. Only the soul who sees through the illusions, who refuses to be seduced by fear or desire, can ascend to higher realms. This life, this moment, is your training ground. Every fear you conquer, every attachment you release, every lie you see through, these are victories in the battle for your soul. And remember, the enemy's greatest weapon is to convince you there is no battle at all, to lull you into numbness, distraction, or despair, to make you believe that this world, with all its suffering and limitation, is all there is. Do not be fooled. You are part of a much greater story, one that spans across lifetimes, dimensions, and worlds unseen. You are not defenseless. You were never meant to be a slave to forces beyond your comprehension. Hidden within the ancient teachings, Gnostic, Hermetic, Vedic, Tibetan, are powerful tools that can break the chains and awaken your true self. First, the power of awareness. The moment you begin to observe your thoughts instead of blindly identifying with them, you take the first step toward freedom. Awareness is the sword that cuts through the fog of illusion. Meditation is not a luxury. It is a battlefield tactic. Every time you sit in silence and witness the mind's chatter without reacting, you reclaim a piece of your sovereignty. Second, the weapon of inner stillness. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks of the yogi who is unmoved by joy and sorrow alike, who dwells in the peace beyond opposites. This inner stillness is impenetrable to the manipulations of the matrix. It is the unshakable fortress from which you launch your awakening. Third, the shield of discernment. The Gnostics emphasize the need for deep gnosis, direct, experiential knowledge of truth. In a world drowning in lies and half-truths, discernment is your protection. Trust your inner resonance. Learn to recognize the frequency of truth. It feels expansive, liberating, empowering. Lies feel heavy, contracting, enslaving. Fourth, the path of right action. Action rooted in awareness, detachment, and love. This is the way to transmute the world around you. In the Tibetan teachings, compassionate action towards all beings is considered essential to liberation. Not because it wins you points, but because compassion dissolves the illusion of separation, the matrix's core deception. Fifth, the invocation of higher forces. You are not alone. Call upon the true light, not the counterfeit lights of false saviors, but the infinite source within and beyond all worlds. Whether you pray, chant, meditate, or simply open your heart, genuine connection to the source unleashes a force that no Archon, no demon, no false system can withstand. Finally, the ultimate tool, remembrance. Constantly remind yourself, I am not this body. I am not these thoughts. I am not this story. I am the eternal soul, a fragment of the infinite, temporarily walking through a dream. Every moment you remember this, the dream loses its power to control you. Freedom is not given, it is reclaimed. Liberation is not granted by any external power. It is seized by the courageous soul who dares to awaken fully. You are that soul. You are that power. The time has come to remember who you are. Beyond the illusions, beyond the battles, beyond the endless turning of worlds, there is a silence so profound, a peace so absolute, that it defies all description. This is the source, the unnameable, the eternal, the womb from which all things arise and to which all things return. The Gnostics called it the pleroma, the fullness of pure being, untouched by the distortions of the Archons. The ancient rishis of the Vedas called it Brahman, the infinite reality beyond all forms and concepts. Hermes Trismegistus spoke of the one mind, the all, from which the universe unfolds like a dream. You have never been separate from this source. You have only forgotten. The return is not a journey across space. It is a journey inward, a collapsing of illusions, a stripping away of layers, a remembrance so total that the ego melts like a shadow at noon. The exit from the matrix is not found through rebellion or external revolt. It is found through profound, inner awakening. The Tibetan Bardo describes the soul's passage after death. Luminous lights appear, terrifying visions arise, seductive dream worlds beckon. But the wise soul recognizes them all as projections of its own mind and moves beyond them into liberation. This very life, this very moment, is a rehearsal for that supreme passage. To awaken here is to escape not just the illusions of this world, but of all worlds. The Bhagavad Gita offers a simple yet staggering truth. There is no existence for the unreal, and the real can never cease to be. That which you truly are has never been trapped, never been harmed, never been diminished. You are and have always been eternal awareness, wearing temporary masks in the play of existence. The exit plan is simple, yet requires the courage of a lion and the patience of the stars. Wake up. Remember. Reclaim your power. Refuse to consent to the illusions. Stand in the blazing truth of your being. And when the final moment comes, whether in this life or another, step fearlessly through the dissolving dream, back into the arms of the infinite. So now the question stands before you, urgent, alive, burning. Will you wake up? You were not born merely to work, consume, suffer, and die. You were not meant to live as a slave in a world designed to siphon your energy and suppress your soul. You are a luminous being of unimaginable power, temporarily dreaming you are small, fragile, limited. The Matrix will keep whispering, "Go back to sleep." The Archons will keep spinning their webs of fear, distraction, and desire. The noise of the world will roar around you, trying to drown out the faint but fierce call of your true nature. But none of that matters if you make a single, irreversible choice. I choose to awaken. From this choice, everything changes. Synchronicities begin to unfold. The right teachings find you. The right allies appear. Inner wisdom ignites like a fire that cannot be extinguished. You begin to see the hidden strings behind the world's stage. You no longer react. You create. You no longer fear. You trust. You no longer obey the false authorities. You bow only to the infinite within. The Hermetic axiom declares, "As above, so below. As within, so without." Change your inner world, and the outer world must follow. Awaken your consciousness, and the Matrix loses its power over you. The false structures crumble. The illusions shatter. The soul soars free. The exit is not in some distant paradise or future utopia. It is here, now, within you. It has always been within you. You are the dreamer awakening inside the dream. You are the warrior remembering the real battle. You are the seeker becoming the truth itself. The time of sleeping is over. The time of illusions is ending. The call to awaken echoes across the realms, and it is calling you.